Hey everyone, welcome back. Stacker here. In today's numismatic news and information for the 9th day of June 2023, I'm going to take you over to JM Bullion so we can look at those live spot prices, the availability on the American Silver Eagles, as well as those premiums for those American Silver Eagles. But before all that, huge shout out and a big thank you to all of our channel members. And also, just a heads up today, we will be doing a show at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. Hope to see you there soon. Now, over here at JM Bullion, gold is down $2.95 in 1974.78. Silver is up 6 cents to 24.55. Platinum down 26 cents to 10.28.16. And palladium down $4.10 to 13.95.40. Look at that, would you? Now, there's an in-stock American Silver Eagle. The credit card PayPal payment is $43.17. And I would imagine, well, check this out. Less that ask, the difference is $18.62. So looks like that premium is coming down for the American Silver Eagle. And I would imagine at other bullion dealers, it could be more substantial than the $18.62 that you see here. And is that because the United States Mint has added a bunch more bullion here? Perhaps. But we haven't seen anything. Now, today's the 9th. We're 8 days in at least to report June sales. And that's the first week of June completely finished. We don't have any more data to give you. Now, there's a fun story here out of KTLA.com. This is by Travis Schlepp, June 8, 2023. So that was just yesterday, and that was yesterday afternoon, and it was updated yesterday afternoon, even later. So check this out. Family finds 1 million copper. See how they said that? Copper pennies while cleaning out Los Angeles home. These are called the Pico pennies, and they're the copper. Think about it, copper hoard. That's just amazing. I'm so geeked up at this. This is just right up my alley. I love stuff like this, and hopefully you do too. It says here, having more money than you know what to do with is usually a good thing. But for one California family, it's a bit more complicated than that. John Reyes, a realtor from the Inland Empire, they call that the IE to locals, is trying to figure out what to do with more than 1 million pennies he and his wife discovered in her father's former home in Pico Union neighborhood of Los Angeles. Wow, 1 million pennies, folks. What would you do with all that copper? The pennies were found in a crawl. I would look for errors, right? The pennies were found in a crawl space way back in the basement of the home last year while the family was cleaning out the home that once belonged to John's father-in-law, Fritz. It says here the home was built in the early 1900s, and the family believes it was once used as a bed and breakfast. Fritz and his brother, both German immigrants, lived in the home for decades until Fritz passed and his brother moved away. Now, folks, it was very common to hold money not in banks, but at your house, in jars, buried, whatever. So banks is kind of a new phenomenon here in the last 100, 150 years, whatever it is, right? So that's kind of interesting that legacy, we're still seeing pieces of that legacy hit us, years later. Now, it says here, in the years since, John, his wife Elizabeth, her sister, cousin, and their spouses have been cleaning out the historic home with plans to renovate it for the next generation. That's reasonable. Thank you for doing that, thinking about the progeny. John recalls the arduous task of cleaning out the family home, which was filled to the brim with items of various levels of importance. I think anybody has to deal with that when they are taking over a home. It says here they kept everything, Reyes told KTLA News, adding that it's taken several years with their busy schedules to get the place clean and ready for renovations. I don't know. Several years, that seems like they're dragging their feet, but that's okay, because this is a really interesting story. And look at the hoard. You can almost see it coming. He says their cleaning job became a rescue mission one day last year when cleaning out the home's basement. The crawl space was tight, literally requiring members of the family to get on their knees to reach the deepest corners. Here you go, crawl space, hidden from anybody. And here you go, look what they found. We were trying to do a thorough job, Reyes says, their attention to detail eventually leading them down a rabbit hole in which they never expected to find themselves. And look at that, folks. And I believe these are probably original bank wrap rolls of copper. Imagine those being 1982, 1981. And that's just incredible. Imagine how many beautiful BU examples are in here. And if you can see here on these particular bags, all right, these, I believe, hold rolls, all right? There's some, you can see, look, there's rolls there. These are a bag of rolls, same. I don't believe these are individual pennies just sitting there. Those are all rolls, bags of rolls, boxes. It's just incredible. Crates of rolls, boxes of rolls, bags of rolls. And what's sad is it looks like that's the opening of the garage right there where all the moisture can come in and all these boxes. That one looks compromised, but, ouch. That's a lot of pennies, folks. How incredible is this? This is wild. So, yeah, that's that. Let's keep on reading. This is so exciting. It says here, at first they stumbled upon some loose pennies. The paper rolls disintegrated from years of basement dwelling. See, there you go, not kept in a good spot. Loose pennies led to crates, which led to boxes, which eventually led to the discovery of dozens of banks' bags filled with an undetermined amount of pennies from decades ago. I'm getting excited. I can't even talk anymore. Some of the banks don't even exist anymore, Reyes said. Absolutely. The discovery was exciting, but also led to the realization they were stuck with hundreds of thousands of pennies, each bag weighing several pounds and needing to be pulled from a crawl space and brought into the light for the first time in years. Now, folks, what happens when somebody gives you loads of pennies when they're giving, like paying you off? Isn't that a big, you know what? Get that, take that, suffer, right? When you, isn't that the truth? Like, I'm going to pay my bill in all pennies. Yeah, that's like, oh, all these pennies. So some people think it's a curse, right? Wow. Some people think it's a blessing. See, isn't that interesting? It's all about perspective. They randomly selected 3 bags. Okay, randomly selected 3 bags, grabbed multiple handfuls, and confirmed that the pennies were copper, not zinc and cents, which the United States switched to in the 1980s. We know it was 1982, right, folks? There were 7 different pennies that year, and the 8th one, well, if you can find that one, it's very, very highly sought after. They did some rough mathematics, weighing the bags of pennies and determining how much each bag held, and then stopped once they felt comfortable with an estimate at least 1 million pennies. Next came the question that still rings true for Reyes and his wife's family. What exactly do you do with 1 million pennies? I know what to do. Call me. The immediate thought was cash out and be done with it. What? Come on, all those pennies? You got to be kidding. What are you thinking about? Now it says here, we got to take these to the Coinstar. Reyes, no. Reyes recalled thinking at the time, but quickly changed their minds. Yeah, we don't want to pay the 8%, and there's no way we can take all these all the way to home, to Ontario, which is in the Inland Empire. That would, imagine what that'd do to your car. 1 million pennies. Yeah, you'd need a new one by the time you got a mile away. So what if they didn't? Say no to the Coinstar and they did pay the 8%, or maybe they knew that they could get maybe an Amazon gift card for no percentage off of what's what, and then they stuck them all in there. That would have been, what, an hour? I'm sorry, like a whole day turning pennies in. That would have been incredible. Now it says here they began calling around banks in Los Angeles to see if any of them were interested. Coin shortage, remember? You need pennies. One Wells Fargo branch said it was just too many pennies for them to take in. I don't even have the room in my vault. Reyes recalled a bank manager telling him, don't bring them here. So they were forced to pivot, hoping that their local bank in San Bernardino, that's San Bernardino, locals call it San Bernardino, County, would be more willing to work with them. But first, they needed to get the pennies out of the basement and back to the Inland Empire in Ontario. Literally, bag by bag, we had to take them out of the basement, up the stairs, and onto the trucks. It took hours, Reyes said. It took a whole day just to get them out of the crawl space. Imagine that. They used 2 trucks, one Dodge heavy duty, loaded the pennies onto the axles of the truck beds, and watched as thousands of pounds of copper pennies exerted their weight on the truck suspensions. They drove they drove the sinking trucks in the slow lane all the way back to Ontario, where the coins sat as they tried to figure out what to do with them next. Wow, that's amazing. Again, they ran into another roadblock. The local bank didn't want to take the pennies either, urging Reyes and his extended family to go through them and search for any rarities. Finally, somebody's got some sense in them. Reyes begrudgingly agreed. You see all these stories about people finding pennies worth $2 million, he said. It only takes one rare coin to change everything. Yes, and they had ample opportunity to get lucky. Yeah, ample opportunity. Yeah, millions of pennies. But they've already invested years into cleaning out Fritz's and brothers' old home, and they've spent months dealing with the pennies. The family is ready for someone else to finish the journey. What? But they want to get a fair value for the possibility of the pennies promise. Folks, that's oportunidad right there. Opportunity for you, for anybody who's into Lincoln cents. And this is huge. This is a big, big deal. Imagine what there could be in there. Imagine. That's a payday. Now, Reyes listed the coins on OfferUp, a popular resale app and website, asking for $25,000. If their estimate of 1 million pennies is accurate, that's more than double the $10,000 value in normal currency. Okay, imagine just a copper melt weight. And I'm surprised that they didn't put that here, but whatever, that's fine. They received piecemeal offers. That's like, oh, here and there, a little piece here, a little piece there. Offers from people interested in a portion of what treasures may be found in the depths of the bank bags, but no offers to take them completely out of their hands. One person offered the copper value, but that proved to be impractical and resource heavy. Yeah, the value is in the uniqueness. Absolutely. Thank goodness, Reyes said, and taking less than their fair value would go against the ideals of a strong-willed father-in-law. Absolutely. Fritz and his brother were German immigrants who Reyes described as war babies who understood the importance of metals and materials. Ding, 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 ding. Hey, that could be a lesson for us today. Who knew? When the United States switched from copper to zinc to press its pennies, Fritz saw an opportunity to help build generational wealth for his family. Fritz, a well-known butcher who worked in Hollywood for years, would take his paychecks to the bank and purchase copper pennies, knowing their value would only go up in time. Boy, somebody who can see the future, that's just a remarkable person. He was always worrying, at best trying to position himself, Reyes recalled. And I think that's what some folks do. They just try and think, how can I position myself in, if times get tough? And, they're war babies. Remember that. They are coming from a perspective that most of us don't even have here today. Now, it says here, years after his death, Fritz and his brother are still looking out for his family, and Reyes intends to make sure their hard work pays off, even if it's a headache in the meantime. That reminds me of the story in the Bible about the ants, how years after their passing, the ants still gathered more food than they could ever consume, leaving it for the progeny. That's amazing. I just got the chicken skin. Now, if you have the means, the desire, and an optimistic spirit, Reyes and his family are listening to offers, although you'll probably have to figure out how to transport them yourself. Gosh. Yeah, well, you know what? There's a semi-truck just with your name on it, right? Those are the Pico pennies, folks, and it looks right there. That's amazing. Now, wanted to share one more thing before we wrap it up with the plus ones here today. Bam. All right, this is pretty exciting, and I put 2023 quarter error. Gosh. All right, and I've got time newly listed. All right, this one is the Bessie Coleman. Oh, there's an Eleanor Roosevelt quarter. Let me see if I can search. Maybe there's a new one that's been listed here this morning. Nope. Eleanor Roosevelt, uncirculated, die crack, ding, ding, ding. You can see it going from the U in human all the way up to the top right. So up and to the right, Bessie Coleman, Edith Kanaka Ole, Edith, Roosevelt quarter right there, a little something on the tip of the nose. Looks like they're saying it's a die chip on the tip. Now, Eleanor Roosevelt right here, that looks like the reverse shoulder die chip. And folks, these are all coming out of U.S. mint rolls. And look at this one. I couldn't figure this one out, but look at that reverse rim hat die chip. Yow. And look, another Eleanor Roosevelt chip right there. Ding, 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 ding. And so that's multiple ones we're seeing of that tip on the nose. Another person's, it's the same person, I believe, has the reverse rim hat die chip. Okay. Another one of those Washington nose die chips. There they are. Kanaka Ole. And look, we have floating initials again with the Eleanor Roosevelt quarter. That's the LGF, all right? And it seems to be off center on that one as well. But look at this. This is the Denver strike, all right? This is the Eleanor Roosevelt 2023 Denver. Look at that die crack. You can just see it just there. And how far do they let that bad boy go? Yeah, that's a greght question. Now after the plus ones. Bam. Here we go. This is Psalm 103:14. For he knew our nature. He is mindful that we are dust. And here we go. I think this is what I tried to wrap my head around it. The soul in turmoil is calmed by recounting the Lord's infinite kindness. He allows for the fact that the material side of man's dual nature beckons him to sin. He knows what we're all about. Come on. He knows what's going down. Now over here to 99.9 KOIN Coin News Radio. Yeah, this is Elton John. Goodbye, Yellow Brick Road. Hope you enjoyed, folks. So, hopefully we'll see you here at 9 a.m. this morning, 6 a.m. on the West Coast. It's a bit of an early show, but it's worthy. I'm telling you. Stacker out.